Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Bedroom Club podcast. My name's Adana. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. Whatever. Thank you so much for watching. I'm super excited for this episode, like any other episode, to be honest. So, yeah, thanks for being here with me. I feel like we usually start with life updates. I'm trying to think of any life updates. Got a new mic, got a new camera. Super exciting. Turned 23. But all of these are things that I talked about in the last episode. I don't know if there's anything past that. New camera, new mic, so the quality is like 10 times better than it has been, and I'm so excited and grateful. This is my first time recording at the desk with the new camera and new mic. Saying that to say, I'm still working on the camera settings that I like for the podcast. I also feel like it's not helping that the lighting keeps changing. I think I'm doing a lot of things that are not helping. Number one, I'm facing away from the light source in my room because, as you can see, the window is behind me. And if I was facing the window, I'd have more natural light. But I like this being in the background. And if it's flipped, it's not giving as much, in my opinion. Plus, I'm using my desk's vanity mirror as a light source. So it's two opposing light sources and me, the subject, facing one, but not facing the other. So I know that it doesn't always look as amazing as it could look. I like this part of my room. Like, I like all the pictures. I like my bed. I feel like it looks right. But I also feel like now that I have a camera, I can kind of like offset that weirdness with the camera settings. This is the first camera I've ever like owned, so I don't know fully the settings that I want to use, so I'm working on it. I put some settings on there today in terms of like contrast, exposure, etc., etc. So we're gonna play around probably for some time and see actually what I like and what works. Let's just jump into today's episode. Today I wanted to talk about I'm so tired of talking about myself. Like, I'm not tired of talking, I'm just tired of talking about myself. I don't know. Maybe you guys aren't tired of hearing about the same thing, but I can only imagine that it can be tiring to hear about the same girl over and over again. We do not care. There are some topics that I haven't spoken about yet that I know I could talk about. Honestly, there's probably a lot of topics that I know I could talk about, but I'm like nervous to talk about them. So, because I feel like everything I've talked about, there has been some personal stuff, obviously, but like, I still feel comfortable, but there's some things that I'm like, ooh, that's a scary topic to talk about. Maybe after episode 10, we'll touch on those because I've exhausted all of the easier personal topics. I'm like, what do I talk about now? But don't worry, one thing about me, I will find something. I'm leaving here with something. So today I wanted to talk about being a personality sponge slash not having a personality at all slash adaptability. And I feel like I've spoken about some of those things. I think it was episode 6, the episode where I talked about, we briefly touched on my adaptability and that like I just kind of am very like go with the flow. I adapt to my environment. I think that affects my whole niceness issue, which I talked about in that episode. But today I want to talk about how adaptability and being a sort of personality sponge, I kind of want to talk about how those things impact my personality, I guess. Not just my niceness, but personality in particular. When I say personality sponge, for me, I feel like I don't have an extremely distinct personality, which is also not to say that I'm like I don't think being around me is like watching paint dry or anything like that. Like, I think I can be funny, I think I can be interesting, whatever. I'm just saying, some people you meet and they have a very like distinct personality and it's consistent no matter who they're around or where they are. Like, some people are very like, I know how to describe that person. And I don't think I have that type of personality where it's very like, this is who I am. And I think that the reason for that is because I would consider myself very adaptable and go with the flow, so to speak. Or like, I don't know, I just go with how the group is feeling, if that makes sense. Or the other person that I'm with, I go with how they're feeling generally. I think in particular, I'm very much a personality sponge. Like, it's really easy for me to adopt the like sayings and mannerisms and personality traits of other people. And I've noticed that a lot. Like, I adopt like the phrases and the sayings of my friends, which I don't think is abnormal at all, to be honest. I know there's also that like quote that people say that you're, which is actually like, it gets me every time, but the like, you're a mosaic of all the people you've ever loved. Like, well, yes. I do think it's not abnormal to like when you're around people, especially when you're around the people that you love, you mirror a lot of their behaviors. So I don't think it's weird, but I do think for me especially, rather than having a distinct and unique personality that's like unique to me, I feel like my personality is just a jumble of everyone's personalities around me at that time. And I don't know how to feel about that, I guess. It's a double-edged sword, maybe is the word. Um, because I think I personally really appreciate my adaptability. I think that that's what makes it easy to work with me, or easier. I'm not gonna say I'm so easy to work with, but I think it makes it easier to work with me. If I'm wrong, friend, let me know. But I think from how I perceive myself slash how other people talk about me to me, I don't think I have a super strong personality slash presence. Um, I think I can if the situation calls for it, but that's not my natural inclination, is to like have something where like as soon as you meet me or as soon as I come in the room, like there's a certain je ne sais quoi. I don't have that. I think the positives of having that type of adaptable personality is that I'm easy to work with, not too particular, not too picky. I'm just like, whatever you need, I'll do. Whatever is needed, I'll be. And I think that that's a positive. I also think it helps me to be a little bit more empathetic because I don't live my life in black and whites. So I don't perceive other people's behavior as black and white. That doesn't go for everything. There are plenty of things that I'm like, okay, no, it's right or wrong. I actually think, not to go off on a tangent, but something, because I feel like I've grown up, and ever since I was in high school, I started learning this about myself, that like I'm pretty open and chill, and like, things are usually, not all the time, but usually like, things are no sweat off my back. Like, I'm good whatever we do, wherever we are, I'm good. Usually, I will say I am very black and white when it comes to politics, and it is a learning process for me to grow out of that, because when I was in school, like, I wouldn't say that I get into political arguments. Like, I'm not someone who like makes everything a political issue, even though I do think in my head that everything's a political issue. I generally will be like, okay, if we're not actively having a conversation about it, then I just kind of keep my opinions to myself sometimes. I do think that in college I learned through my job, because it was like by nature, I was a multicultural advocate for my college campus. So a lot of times I was engaging in different like political and social issues, or like conversations about political and social issues. And I learned about myself that even though, yes, just like in day to day life, I'm pretty open and chill and like whatever, go with the flow, as they say. I do think when it comes to politics, I'm pretty like, it's strict around here. Like, I have pretty strong opinions. My morals are pretty black and white. As someone who has pretty strong political and social convictions, I think it's definitely a learning process for me to be more empathetic to, not when people have bad morals, because like that is a tough pill to swallow. Like, if I think something is right and something else is wrong, it's kind of hard for me to understand someone whose morals are flipped from mine. I think I'm learning to be empathetic, not necessarily to morals that are in complete opposition to mine, but I guess being empathetic to people's different lived experiences and understanding that not everybody has the same belief system as me, not everybody has the same background as me, not everybody has the same friends as me, not everyone has the same family as me. The list goes on and on. So like, I can't expect everyone to think like me, even if I think that what I think is right. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but like obviously your lived experiences, all of us, our lived experiences inform our beliefs and how we like move through life. And I think obviously if you don't have the same lived experiences as me, you may not have the same beliefs as me. That doesn't make your, judgmental beliefs okay, but it adds some nuance to them and gives you a place to work from versus me just writing that person off as like a bad person because they don't believe in the same thing as me. I do not know how we got on this topic of politics. That is not even the point of this episode, so my fault, y'all. My point is just that while I am pretty good with the flow, I do think politics is where I draw the line a lot of times. And I'm trying to learn not to take away my line, but to maybe like let it move a little bit more. Again, not to accommodate for bad morals, but to understand people enough to get on the same moral page, if that makes sense. I don't want to write someone off so hard that like it ends up doing more harm than good because I can't talk to that person or help them believe what I think is right. Does that make, I don't know if that makes sense, but back to the point, actually, let's get literally right back to the point. I do think that I'm someone who's pretty good with the flow, generally on a day-to-day basis. Like, I don't always need things done an exact way and do what you want. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm actually probably gonna copy you. I'm the type of person who, like, if my friend starts saying something, I start saying that thing and I can't stop. Or like my friends have certain mannerisms and like this, like the way I talk with my hands, I've always talked with my hands growing up, and actually I will never forget that boy in third grade who was calling me ghetto because I was talking with my hands. Oh, 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 oh. You're going to jail forever. But okay, even this, I feel like in every episode when I edit, I do this often. Ready? I do this. I did not come up with that. Like, I have a friend specifically in my mind who does this all the time. She does it all the time. She's like, oh my God. And I've taken that from her. I've stolen that from her. And I think that that's true for a lot of things in my life. Like the way that I move my hands right now, it's because I have a friend in my head who, like, she moves her hands in a way that when I see it, I'm just like, oh, you're so cool. Like, I love the way you move your hands. So now I'm about to do it too. Like, you know what I mean? I think for a lot of things in my life, they aren't original. Let me know, guys. I don't know if that's how everybody feels or if it's just a me thing. Because when I like look at other people, when I perceive the people in my life, I guess, I see them as very unique and very special. Does this sound bad? Does it sound like I hate myself? I just want to be clear that that is not the case. I guess I'm just trying to say that I see other people as very like unique and identifiable people. Like they have very particular personality traits. And I guess I wonder if those people see themselves that way or if they also think what I think, which is that like I stole this thing from that person and this thing from that person and this thing from that person. You know what I mean? I think being a personality sponge is a double-edged sword. And I think the positives of that are being like easy to work with, empathetic, adaptable. Some cons of that are potentially being perceived as disingenuous or as fake because I don't always act the same in every situation, if that makes sense. And I don't know if I'm just being overly self-critical or if other people do see how I act and they're like, wait, when you're with me, you act this way, but I just saw you with that person and you act that way. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing, but then sometimes when other people mention it, I'm like, ooh, I totally get why it comes across as fake. Like, I feel like people get very different versions of me depending on who they are, depending on where we are. It throws them off. I perceive myself as an ambivert, which is but like both, right? It's like you're both depending on the situation. 100% I see that as me. I think I can be the loudest person in the room if needed, and I can be the quietest person in the room if needed. I do think I tend to lean more towards being quiet. People get different versions of me because I think probably a lot of my coworkers would not think I'm introverted. I talk a lot at work, I think. I don't know. I think I talk a lot at work. I initiate conversations. I join in on conversations. Like, even if you're not talking to me, like, I'm about to low key put my 2 cents. I don't do it all the time, but basically, when I'm with my loud coworkers, like, I'm quiet. But when I'm with my quiet coworkers, I'm loud. And I think that that's true for my friends too. When I'm with my quiet friends, like, I am the one who's cracking the jokes and who's, being loud and being probably a little bit obnoxious. And I think that with my louder friends, like, I am okay with fading into the background because I'm always trying to just like match someone's energy or bring someone's energy up a little bit. Actually, I wouldn't say I'm trying to match people's energy. I just realized I just clarked what it is. It's not that I'm ever trying to match someone's energy, but I'm trying to balance out energies. So if you're up here, sorry, it's out of frame. If you're up here, then I'm okay with being down here so we can meet in the middle a little bit. Versus if you're down here, I'm gonna go up here so we can meet in the middle. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, that's how I move about in my life. I feel like that's how I move about in the world. And again, to me, that makes sense. But to others, I could see how it comes across as fake. Then I become self-conscious because I'm like, oh my gosh, they think I'm being fake. They think I don't have a personality. I think also, especially because I love like stealing my friends' sayings, stealing their mannerisms, I also get self-conscious sometimes because I'm like, same thing. Like, do they think that I can't be funny on my own and I only have to be funny by biting off of other people's jokes? Like, recently, I've been getting called funny a lot. And, like, literally, thank you. But then sometimes I'm like, am I funny or am I just a thief? Like, is my sense of humor my own? Or is it just a combination of all the people around me? But then I'm like, one, is that a bad thing? I don't think so. And two, is that abnormal? Am I unique in that? Let me know, guys. When I look at other people being funny, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so funny. And I don't think of them as biting off of other people, if that makes sense. I feel like biting off makes it sound derogatory. I don't see this as a derogatory thing, obviously. I do it myself. I see other people as very unique. I don't even consider the fact that they are also impacted by the people around them in their lives. I just see it as like, whoa, you're so unique. I wonder if they also see the people in their lives like that, and then that's how we all become who we are. Moving forward, I'm like, because what does that mean? Like, okay, I'm a personality sponge. Is that something I want to change? Is that something that I'm okay with? Is that something that needs work? I don't know. Well, actually, I do know. I know my answer, and I think my answer is no. I think it's totally normal to be a personality sponge. You are everyone who you've ever loved. You're everyone who you've ever met, honestly. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with letting that be shown. I don't think that there's anything wrong with reflecting the people in your life, the people that you love, in yourself. I feel like that's normal. And I think actually that is a way to show love, is like, I love you so much. I think you're so cool and awesome and amazing. And I'm actually about to steal that from you. Thank you. Yes, thank you is mine now. I do think another thing I need to work on is not being overly understanding to the point where I'm not backing up my friends. I feel like I've gotten better at this over the years. I definitely think that there were times in my younger years, like when I was in high school or early college, where I'm just always being like, well, I can see their side. I can see their side. And while I do think that that's an important quality to have, like being empathetic and understanding and being able to put yourself in someone's shoes, I could completely understand. I think I spoke about this in a different episode, but completely understand how that can be frustrating for a friend, like to be ranting to me and the first thing out of my mouth is, well, I can see the other person's side. It's like, no, back me up, be there for me, like what? And I didn't quite understand that when I was in high school. And I think as I'm getting older, I'm like, no, I get it. I think a better approach for me now that I'm trying to take in more situations is one, not letting that sentiment be the first thing out of my mouth. If someone's pouring their heart out to me, maybe I can start off by saying, I completely understand where you're coming from, and explain why I understand where they're coming from. Like, that definitely makes sense. You see it this way, and I think that that totally makes sense why your feelings are hurt in this situation, and let that be step one. Then maybe after you can say, I do think coming from that person's perspective, maybe they think XYZ. That still doesn't make it okay that they hurt you, but they probably did it because of XYZ. And let that be the second thing instead of just being like, I mean, I kind of get where they're coming from. Because I think that there's a balance between like being there for your friend and also holding them accountable. I think in high school, I definitely was in a lot of situations where like friends were beefing with each other or friends were beefing with their man. And like, even if I understood where the other friend was coming from or where the man was coming from, like, it didn't need to be the first thing I said. You know what I mean? And my friends would tell me, like, bro, you're always seeing someone else's side. Like, see my side. Back then, I didn't fully get it because I was just like, okay, well, that's the thing that makes sense. Like, the other person's side is the thing that makes more sense than your side. And that may be true. But it doesn't need to be the first thing that they hear when they're like ranting to you. I get it. I get it. I just think my life is a little boring and I have no drama. And so I've never really been on the receiving end of like pouring your heart out to someone or really ranting to them about something and just wanting them to hear you and to be like, yes, I completely understand why you felt that way. And them instead responding with, you're kind of wrong. I've never been on the receiving end of that. I think because I hadn't been in that position, like I didn't get it. I didn't truly get it. And I think that as I'm getting older, that's what empathy is, really, is like, I've never been in that situation, so I don't fully get it. But like, I hear you and I see you and I stand with you. I didn't understand how it could be hurtful because I was just like, okay, well, your side, Loki, doesn't make sense, queen. But now I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, it's not just about hearing what's right and what's wrong. It's about supporting a friend. And again, that doesn't mean you lie to your friend and tell them that they're right when they're wrong. But I guess it's about finding that balance. Because you also don't want to lead your friend in the wrong direction by making them think that like some toxic behavior that they have is okay. But you also want to like make them feel heard and seen. I guess it's about finding that balance. I'm still finding that balance, but I definitely understand more now the value of that balance, if that makes sense. That's kind of all I have to say on the personality sponge adaptability topic. I feel like it's something that I think about a lot, so I could probably talk about it for longer, honestly. But yeah, long story short is I am a very adaptable person. I think I definitely am a personality sponge. Like, I just take and take and take, and like, I love absorbing what other people are doing, but I sometimes wonder if it comes across fake or disingenuous. I'm trying to learn to find that balance, and let it not, one, make me come across fake, but two, make me a bad friend because I'm being so adaptable. With all that being said, we're going to get into our rant topic and into media of the week. Today's rant topic. And I was like rifling through in my mind about what I wanted to rant about, but I saw a TikTok about this today and I was like, no, this is the one. There are no kid spaces anymore. What's up with that? I think there's no like place for kids to be that is just for kids and where they can like learn about the world, learn about life as a kid. I think there's such a blur between kid spaces and adult. There are no kid spaces. So I feel like kids are being kids and then they're getting thrust into like adult spaces. And I think it's very weird. Like, there are no kid shows, kid movies, like, kid entertainment, I think, is getting lost. And I feel like I grew up in a golden age of kids' entertainment, like Disney Channel, Nickelodeon. Those things were so big when I was a kid. Like, I was not watching adult shows growing up at all. I also think, like, I had a mom who was pretty, like, no, you will be watching Disney Channel. So much so that like I wasn't even allowed to watch SpongeBob growing up. That was the ultimate kid show. I feel like everybody's watched SpongeBob. I was not allowed to watch SpongeBob, mostly because my mom was saying that it was gonna make me dumb. Um, whether that would have been true or not, I couldn't tell you. I can think of two shows that I would sneakily watch, and like she actually would have beat me for sure. I would say one, Bad Girls Club, and this was when I was like in middle school. I would like watch episodes of Bad Girls Club. Mm-mm. Like if my mom ever knew back then that I was watching that, oh, I would have gotten in so much trouble. Now I'm also like, you know, looking back, I'm like, I never should have been watching that. I completely understand why I wasn't allowed to watch those things, but Bad Girls Club, if it ever came on, like, I knew that that wasn't for me. Like, I knew that I wasn't allowed to be watching that. I think another example, which, like, I didn't even watch this show that much, but I wanted to so bad, but my mom wouldn't let me, was Degrassi. Like, people talk about Degrassi, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally missed out on this wave of TV, and I wanted to watch it so bad. Like I remember being a kid and like I would watch Zoe 101 would come on, Drake and Josh would come on, and I was like, yes, Degrassi would be like the late night show. Turn off the TV and go to bed. It wasn't a kid show, like not at the age that I'm talking about, which is like I feel like when you're a tween, like 12ish. Like you're not gonna watch Degrassi. I'm sorry. You're not watching that. Go watch Hannah Montana. Like you're 12 years old. I completely understand now that I'm older, the importance of kid spaces. Me criticizing the fact that there are no kid spaces, like this is of no fault of kids in my opinion. I think it's adults allowing kid spaces and adult spaces to merge into one. And I don't know if it's on parents. I think technology also lends to this. And I think lack of creativity in the entertainment industry, all of those things lend to the fact that there are no kid spaces anymore. Never gonna blame a kid for this. I also don't want to be a hypocrite because I was also watching Love Island. But to be 16 and watching Love Island is actually so crazy, so insane. That is not a show for you. Like, there has to be something that's like, yes, older. I'm not saying you need to be 16 and still watching SpongeBob, but like, Love Island, like that feels like a big jump. Like there are 14, 15, 16-year-olds watching Love Island. I'm 23 and I literally sometimes Love Island challenges will happen and I'm like, no, that's not for me to watch. Like, what happened? What happened? What happened? There was a time when 16-year-olds were obsessed with Hannah Montana and Wizards of Waverly Place and other Disney shows. And like, yes, you start to get older and you start to get into other things. I completely get it. But even then, like, I feel like other popular teenage shows are like One Tree Hill, The OC, The Vampire Diaries. I'm just naming off shows that I loved. But like, I think even then, I would much rather my kid be watching One Tree Hill over Love Freaking Island. You know what I mean? Like, there were still shows that like were for kids or for teenagers that now I feel like they don't really exist as much. Kids have no choice but to turn to shows like Love Island that they literally should not be watching. That's just my opinion. I think that there are a lot of reasons why there are no kid spaces anymore. I think one, kids just have too much access to things. I think especially in the world of streaming and the internet, I think kids have a lot of access to adult content. They are attracted and have access to entertainment that, in my opinion, they can wait till they're a little bit older. Not saying you need to be like 20 years old before you watch One Tree Hill. I get it. But I also don't think you need to be 10 and watching One Tree Hill either. Like, there's got to be a balance. I'm also kind of over exaggerating. I don't know if 10-year-olds are watching it, but I definitely think when people are 12, they're probably getting to the point where they're watching those types of shows. I don't know if it's just because I was raised in like a particular household where that wasn't allowed. And like, if I was able to sneak past that, it was very rare. Like I was saying earlier, Bad Girls Club, the only way I would get lucky to be able to watch Bad Girls Club is if it was on cable, like if it just happened to be playing on cable and my mom happened to not be home. I think that the problem to me now, and this is what I mean when I say I'm not blaming kids, like I had the same mindset when I was a kid. I wanted to watch stuff that I like wasn't necessarily allowed to watch. I think the problem now is that they have so much access to it through streaming. Like it's so easy for them to go on Netflix and watch shows that aren't necessarily for them. And I know that like those streaming platforms have, I don't know, I feel like they've definitely enabled some protections. I don't think it's enough. I know that they do like kids profiles and stuff like that, but I still think it's super easy to just not make a kids profile. And if your parents aren't like watching what you're watching, which I don't know if parents are doing that, how would they know? How would you be stopped? Like you can turn on whatever you want whenever you want, I guess is what I'm saying. Whereas back in the day, I couldn't turn on whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. It was a very particular circumstance in which I was able to turn it on, which just naturally like pushed me towards watching stuff that was for kids, aka Hannah Montana, Wizards of Waverly Place, stuff on Disney, iCarly, Victorious. But I also think there is so much lack of creativity in the entertainment industry. And I think it's hard because, like, I don't know if the entertainment industry can really win at this point. I mean, I just think that, mind you, I'm not a writer. I'm asking for this thing that I don't know if I necessarily could make. So, no judgment here. I don't know if, like, all ideas have been exhausted or what's going on. I feel like growing up, there were so many shows that were so original and so fun to watch. Like, even now, as I'm in my 20s, those shows were so interesting and original. That's So Raven, Hannah Montana, Wizards of Waverly Place. Those were probably my top three Disney shows, I would say. Hannah Montana, oh, I was such a Hannah Montana girl growing up. I had a Hannah Montana tote bag. I had a Hannah Montana blanket, which I watch this space because I'm about to show you all my Hannah Montana blanket. Like, this was really the gag when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I was such a Hannah Montana girl. I was such a That's a Raven girl, such a High School Musical, the Cheetah Girls kind of kid. And like those stories were so original. And I feel like the entertainment industry and the kids' entertainment industry is really lacking in those areas. Maybe they're not lacking in those areas. Maybe it's just because I'm older, like those things are not catered towards me anymore. Now, I will say, looking from the outside in, I can tell that they're lacking. One, because I see so many kids watching things that I'm watching. I don't think me at 23 should be watching the same thing that like a 15-year-old is watching. You know what I mean? It's glaringly obvious that they're lacking creativity in these areas because everything's a reboot. Like most of what I just said, have they or have they not done a reboot for it? That's a Raven has a reboot. Wizards of Waverly Place has a reboot. I feel like there's not a lot of new stories out there anymore. I feel like there's a lot of old stories that are being capitalized on, and I think that there's not enough investment in new stories. Even when you think about like Kids Bop, Radio Disney, like yes, looking back at those things, like they were super corny, but it was good for me. Like Kids Bop, listening to clean kids music, like yes, that's okay. Like that's what kids need to listen to. They don't need to listen to Gunna. Like what? And it's like I hate saying this because I feel like I feel like I definitely sound like Unc, but two, I think I probably definitely sound like a hypocrite because when I was 15, I was listening to Lil Uzi Vert every day of my life. Should I have been? No. Now that I'm older, I feel like kids are younger and younger and have access to things that I'm like, no, that's not tea. You need to go listen to Radio Disney right now. Like, you need to have that High School Musical soundtrack in your head. But why would they if they have access to other stuff and if they don't actually have any like good entertainment that's catered towards them? It's not the kids' fault. Parents probably could be more involved. Entertainment industry people, like I don't know who, but I don't know, like writers and stuff, like come up with something for kids. Like come up with something for kids. Make it good. That's my 2 cents. Hashtag let kids be kids. Hashtag actually take me back to when I was a kid. I feel like I've also been getting a lot of content from when I was a kid. Like I keep seeing stuff about Disney. You know, Demi Lovato and the Jonas Brothers reunited. Like Miley is doing a Hannah Montana thing next year, I'm pretty sure. Like my childhood is starting to revive itself. And it makes me so emotional. Like my childhood makes me so emotional. I also keep getting those slideshow carousel TikToks, whatever, when people are like, oh, remember Christmas in elementary school? Remember the day before winter break in elementary school? Remember field day in elementary school? Gym in elementary school? Like, I wish I had cherished those moments more. When you're a kid, like you kind of just want to grow up. Now that I'm growing up, I'm still young, but like now that I'm growing up, like, oh my gosh, like I miss those things from when I was a kid so much. Like, I want to have recess. I want to go on a field trip. I want to build gingerbread houses the day before winter break. Good Lord. Like, I miss those times. And I just want to be able to give today's generation of adolescents that same experience, and I feel like they don't have that, and it makes me sad. Even then, sorry, I just remembered, like Sesame Street or PBS is getting defunded. Is Sesame Street canceled or something? I don't know, don't quote me on that, I don't think I'm right, but whatever. PBS is getting defunded. Like, not that it's getting fully taken down, but that's just an example of like, what are kids gonna watch? Like, they don't have access to Maya and Miguel no more. Super Y, like, what happened? What happened? And I feel like we're not investing in the young generation anymore. And I don't, whatever. That's a whole political conversation. President Trump, you're going to jail forever. But I do think, I don't know, I just want us to find ways to invest in young people and young kid spaces. They need that to flourish. And I had that, and I miss that. Anywho, let's wrap it up. They're giving me the signal. I'm kidding. No one gives me the signal but me. That's my rant. Hashtag let kids be kids. Hashtag bring back kids spaces. Hashtag nostalgia. Hashtag 2000s kid. Hashtag whatever. Y'all get it. Let's get into media of the week. Media of the week. Okay. Book update is that currently still in the same place in The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, mind you. Haven't made much progress there, but when I was at the beach, I started Beach Read, which would be a reread for me, but might actually tap into Beach Read before the summer ends because I remember really loving that book, and it's just been a long time since I've read it. And I've read pretty much every Emily Henry book except for like her super old ones. I also haven't gotten to A Great Big Beautiful Life yet, which is her most recent release. But other than that, I've read every Emily Henry book. So I'm like, let me clock in to Beach Read again because that was the first Emily Henry book that I read. And I remember really loving it, really enjoying it. I need to give it time again, especially before summer ends, because I feel like once summer ends, I'm gonna, switch like what kind of books I'm reading. And I might not want to read Beach Read anymore. I went to the beach and I really thought that I was gonna read way more on the beach. And the people that I was with, they were like, I do not know why you thought you were gonna read on the beach. But trust me, I've been to the beach 2 other times in my life. Both of those times, I read so much. That's all I did. I went on the beach, I sat on the beach all day, and I read. I don't know why. Again, it's because you want that damn phone. It's really because you're on that phone. It's because of that iPhone, because, like, usually I read. I read and I sleep. And I really thought that that was going to happen this time. But I think I just couldn't focus enough to read. Whatever. Basically, still in the same place in Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Started Beach Read. Gonna see where I go with that. I'll let you guys know next week. Song media this week is Man I Need by Olivia Dean. Guys, tap into Olivia Dean. I don't know what to tell you. I literally don't know what else to tell you. Tap into the music. Like, it just makes me feel very like... Also, she has a cover of You Can't Hurry Love that I'm low-key obsessed with, so clock into that. But she just makes me feel very like... My other song media is Bigger. I guess it's 2 songs, really. Bigger by Justin Bieber and Runaway Love by Justin Bieber. And let me tell you something. Justin Bieber in his My World era, I'm sorry, nobody was stepping to him. Like, it's so good. Even Stuck in the Moment, Down to Earth by Justin Bieber, y'all wouldn't get it. Children of divorced parents understand. The lyric where he said, Mama, you are always somewhere, and Daddy, I live out of town, so tell me, how could we ever be normal somehow? You tell me this is for the best, so tell me, why am I in tears? So far away, and now I just need you here. No, I felt it. Like, I felt you, King. But anyway, Bigger and Runaway Love by Justin Bieber. I'm sorry, guys. It's just so good. It's so good. Movie recommendation, because I did recently watch, is it The Map That Leads to You, or A Map That Leads to You, or Map That Leads to You? I don't know, but Amazon Prime, Map That Leads to You. It was a good movie. I feel like the shots, like, were really beautiful. Really good cinematography. It's with Madeline Klein and KJ Apa, and I do think that they had really good chemistry with one another. I did feel like the movie was a little bit anticlimactic. I don't know, I feel like he should have died or something. Or, like, it was a good movie, okay? I wouldn't call it a rom-com. At first I thought it was going to be a rom-com, but I think it's just like a romance movie more than a rom-com. It's a good movie. My only qualm is that I feel like it was a little bit anticlimactic at the end. I wanted, like, a bigger thing to happen, maybe. I don't know. Like, something more emotionally hard hitting that was missing. I also think that there were, like, okay, Madeline Klein's character, I feel like they wanted me to believe that she was the type A person so bad, and that, like, KJ Appa's character was a type B person, which, like, made sense for maybe 10 minutes, but I feel like she went along with so many things that a true type A person would not have gone along with. Like, I feel like I'm a type B, type C person, and she was doing things that I was like, oh, I would never ever do that. And I know I'm not a type A person. Girl, you're not type A. You're not as type A as they want me to believe, but I also get it. I think the whole point was that she was so type A, but she, gave up all her reservations for this guy who was giving her a type B experience, and she really liked him, and she, I get it, but I also was like, I just couldn't believe that she was a type A person, I guess. Again, I feel like the ending, I wanted something more emotionally hard hitting, but what you gonna do? Still a really good movie, beautiful cinematography. I feel like the characters had a lot of chemistry with each other. That's what drew me to it, because I put it on just for like 5 minutes just to see if I liked it. And, like, the relationship between the best friends was really good for me. Like, I loved watching it. I just think that it could have been a little bit more emotionally hard hitting, like more of a climax maybe at the end. Another week, another yap. Thanks for joining me. And yeah, I think that's it. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for, and I hope you guys enjoyed this is the second episode, I guess, with the new mic and the new camera, but this is the first normal episode, because the last episode I was in a different setting. So this is the first, like, true episode with the new cam and the new mic. Hope you guys enjoyed. Shout out to my besties for the gift. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for listening again. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You didn't have to waste your time listening to this, but you did, and I love you for that. But yeah, bye. See you guys next week. Love you.